What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Prep Rally Podcast, your go-to huddle for high school sports action in Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. I'm your host, Sydney Ruth Mulvannon.
Good morning, Sydney. We've got the highlights. We've got the hype. We've got our Gimme 5 and Top 5 where we count down the top athletes of the week from Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. And we got Leland Barclay, the best part about it.
Well, whether you're listening on the way to practice or sitting in the stands, we've got something for every high school sports fan. Let's kick it off with this week's biggest wins and wildest finishes as we reel it back. Welcome back. Let's go ahead and start with some of these biggest wins and wildest finishes, you guys. Let's go with Graham in Northwest.
Well, I'm going to pitch it to Leland because, we talk about wildest finishes. Mm-hmm. I mean, how about Greenwood Bulldogs?
Well,
Wild finish.
That's a little crossover there. NWA and River Valley. So you guys both take the
floor on that one. It was.
Yeah.
So, Greenwood gets the wild win by 1 point with a 2-point conversion by Kane Archer to keep the winning streak alive. Leland and I were just talking about it. We know Springdale Harbor is an improved football team. They honestly could make a great argument that they should have won that ball game on Friday night, but Greenwood gets the late touchdown, the 2-point conversion, and gets the one stop they need on defense to seal the win, Leland.
Well, I guess you could say the legacy continues, or the legacy grows for Kane Archer, the senior quarterback for Greenwood. Guided Greenwood to a game-winning touchdown with 15 seconds left on a 5-yard touchdown run, and then he added the 2-point conversion run in a 43-42 win at Springdale Harbor on Friday night. And the game was about as even as what that score indicates. 14-14 at the end of the first quarter, 21-21 at halftime, 28-28 after 3 quarters, and then the difference in the fourth quarter, a 2-point conversion. Greenwood had 517 yards of offense. Springdale Harbor had 533 yards of offense. 27 first downs for Harbor, 22 for Greenwood. A difference there, 1 fumble lost for Springdale Harbor. Just a fantastic game to wrap up non-conference play for both teams.
Just a fabulous game. Harold McElvain was at that game for us and had a great report in the Saturday paper and in the Sunday River Valley Democrat-Gazette. I tell you what, how about Wild Part 2? Rogers and Sheridan over at Whitey Smith Stadium. They're still scoring points over there, Leland. I don't know if you noticed that, but 84 points for the Mounties to win that game.
Question: Is there a cap off? Is there a certain number in high school that you can't go to? Let's say they scored 100 points. Would that be game's over at that point? Is there a?
Well, I'll tell you what. If they did score 100 points, it wouldn't be the first time that ever happened either, right, Leland?
Yeah, that's correct. We have to go back a long ways. 1927, Rogers actually scored 110 points. I know that's ancient. A lot of what we calculate and the stats we keep and things, we kind of divided into the modern era, which is really 1946 and on. But 110 points in a 110-6 win over University High, which was a second high school that was in Fayetteville for a very short amount of time back in the 20s. And there's some other big, scores against University High during that time. But, and no, they don't stop a game. But obviously, Arkansas, unlike Texas, unlike Oklahoma, does have a mercy rule. When a team reaches a 35-point lead, then the clock runs. And we've even referred to sometimes a turbo clock where the clock never stops after a big lead. Because I under the current rules, it's supposed to stop after scores and a couple of other times. But for the most part, it runs through incomplete passes and penalties and things like that. So There is no limit on the number of points, but they try to get the game over with quicker.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank
Well,
you for
let's
that
put it in
history
some
lesson.
perspective here too. Because so Sheridan would score and they would onside kick. Rodgers would recover the onside kick and then score on their own on a very short field. Rodgers had a lot of short fields to work with, and with their offense, you just can't give them short fields. But that's just kind of the way that Sheridan plays under Kevin Kelly. It's very similar to what the Pulaski Academy did when he was coach there. So, um, not a big surprise that Rodgers scored a lot of points. I am a little bit surprised they gave up 40, but at the end of the day, a shootout like that one just kind of becomes infectious, I think. So, I want to mention too, Bentonville West. I was at the game against Muskogee. They really steamrolled past the Roughers, who were off to an 0-3 start and trying to kind of find their way. Bentonville West has a good football team, and we're going to really see what they're made out of.
And talk about close game the year before too. I think it was by a point from Muskogee. So this year, really turning the tables around on that one.
Yeah, Muskogee's just not the same team they were a year ago, but Bentonville West is a really good team. And next week, one of our most anticipated games, and there's going to be a bunch, will be Bentonville West hosting Fayetteville. So that'll be a great ball game. Leland, you were at Charleston at Alumni Field. How was the press box? How was the game? How was the atmosphere? I'm sure it was a great night.
Oh, the atmosphere, the press box was every bit as exciting as I expected it to be, and every bit as exciting as it has been in the past. Ozark was up 14-3. They scored. John Skolarski scored his second rushing touchdown of the game for Ozark on the first play of the second quarter to go up 14-3. And then Charleston scored on 5 straight possessions in the second quarter, 7 straight touchdowns overall in the game, and ended up with a 52-20 win. And we'll go over a little bit more of that in the Gimme 5 segment.
All right. Sydney, we got to get you down to Charleston to experience that press box.
Well, I was just smiling really big because I think I picked Charleston. I think y'all both picked Ozark. So...
Hey, you needed a break after the week you had, I think, on your picks.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm picking the underdogs. Like in that first game, mind you, Bentonville West did lose to Greenwood, but I picked them that first week. And look at them now. This is a new Bentonville West team, and so I'm excited. I think some of my picks are going to start picking up here.
All right. Well, we'll see about that, won't we? Just a couple of notes here. Fort Smith Southside goes and wins at Little Rock Central. And I tell you, that's an improved Little Rock Central team. Not an easy assignment. Southside played well. Northside, they've still got a little bit of ways to go. They fell at home to Coweta, Oklahoma. I don't know what to make much of that one, Leland, except I think Northside is gonna get there eventually. It's just gonna take a little time.
Yeah, they're gonna get there. They've got a very inexperienced team. And I think Coweta, Oklahoma is very good. I know they play at Prairie Grove on Friday night this week. So we'll see how good Prairie Grove is, I think, in that matchup too. Coweta's got some good players, and I think it showed.
Well, all right.
I mean, so that that's just a sampling of what we had, Sydney.
Mm-hmm. Well, before we go to break, this show is sponsored by West Termite. Take control of your pets with West. Whether it's termites, mosquitoes, bedbugs, weeds, or lawn disease, West has the experience serving Arkansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma since 2003. Book your free consultation online today at westtermite.com. After all, West knows pests best. Welcome back to Prep Rally. We're going to get straight into these upcoming matches and predictions with Who You Got. All right, guys, take it away.
All right. So, as we've figured out over the years, once they introduced week 0, there's going to be a week where there's just not going to be a lot of games played, and this is the week. I mean, there are a lot of teams that have already played their allotment of 3 non-conference games, so we just don't have a whole lot of games happening in our area this week. But a couple of the ones that we do have are pretty exciting. We'll start with Charleston and Hebner, Oklahoma. The Tigers, Leland, man, I'm on board now. I'm back on board. I can't believe I jumped off board for the Ozark game because I picked Charleston to win their league. So, I mean, who you got? I got the Charleston Tigers.
Well, absolutely.
Who you got?
They're rolling right now. They're very good offensively. 4 senior linemen. Of course, Carter Little's having a fantastic season already. Had a fantastic game on Friday night. Their starting offense has scored 11 touchdowns out of 14 possessions this season already. So very good offensive team, very good defensive team. I'm a little embarrassed to say that, I picked a team that was mercy ruled, not once but twice on Friday night. So, and one of those was Ozark, but we didn't see that one coming. That was kind of a game where it just kind of snowballed. And I think now Charleston wants to go to Hebner, win their 3rd conference game, stay healthy, and get ready for 3A1 play.
All right, Sydney, who you got?
I hope to keep my streak going, so I'm going to pick Charleston once again.
All right. Let's stay in the River Valley. Kind of a game that I thought would be a good game last year. It didn't turn out to be. Was Hackett at Mountainburg. Mountainburg's quarterback went out in the game, and Hackett just ran wild on the Dragons. This time it's at Mountainburg. Ryan Allen's going to stay healthy, but close. But I think Hackett still pulls this one out. Sydney, who you got on this one?
I'm going to pick Mountainburg.
Oh, I like it. Leland, who you got?
Yeah, Bryson Hamilton had the game of the week last year in this game. He was the statewide player of the week for that game. Ryan Allen went out early. This year, it's going to be the Ryan Allen show at the Mountainburg Hackett game. So I'm going with the Dragons at home.
I'm not going to lie. I feel a little bit better whenever I make a pick and then Leland picks the same one. Because, I mean, he is our almanac, so I feel a little bit of credit by that.
Well, but remember what he said, 2 teams that he picked got mercy ruled, so.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's ever happened before, but.
Hey, there's always a first time for everything. This game really looked good on paper at the start of the year. I'm not so sure how good Harding Academy is. We know Elkins is going to be a good team. They had a tough loss to Dardanelle, who picked up another good win, and we're kind of going down the rabbit hole with this. But Harding Academy is coming up to play Elkins. That's usually been a really high stakes matchup in Class 4A. A lot of times in the playoffs. Harding Academy traditionally is very good. Elkins, we know they've been good for a long time. Sydney, we're going to lead off with you. Harding Academy at Elkins. Who you got?
This is probably going to be my toughest pick out of all of them. And I'm going to pick Harding Academy.
Ooh, wow.
I know, but
Leland.
I have my reasons.
Well, and it is a difficult pick, but I think it is 2 programs a little bit going in opposite directions right now. Harding Academy was just, had a tremendous run when they were 3A. The competitive equity factor now has kind of evened things up for them. Neil Evans, their longtime coach, also went to Harding University to coach. So, they're going a little bit different direction. I think Elkins is still riding the high of some very good seasons. I think Elkins wins this game in a high-scoring game.
I've got Elkins too. John Bunch Memorial Field out there at Elkins, I believe, is the setting. Hard to get to out there. Harding Academy's got to come up all the way up to Fayetteville from Searcy, And then once you get to Fayetteville, you still got to get to Elkins, and you got to kind of get through Fayetteville to do that. So I know that's probably not a big deal to you city folk, but for me, it's just a ways out there.
Oh, please, Graham, we are not that city. Fayetteville is not that bougie of a city.
All right. Okay. Well, how about this one? Fayetteville High going on the road to Texarkana, Texas, to play the Texas High Tigers. Look like Texas Longhorns, but they are Tigers. Sydney, do I even need to ask you who you got on this one?
I don't know. Give me some time. I don't know who I'm picking yet.
Okay, well,
No,
we'll
I'm
go
totally
to Leland.
kidding.
Who you got?
I'm totally kidding. Fayetteville.
Fayetteville. Tell you what, Leland, I mean, this was such a great game at Harmon Field last year. Texas High with the Fayetteville probably should have won this ball game if we're being honest, and they didn't. It was a foreshadowing of things to come a little bit for Fayetteville. Who you got? I got Texas High.
Of course you do.
Well, we got to be different. Leland, who you got?
Well, two things here. One is I cannot pick a team that has burnt orange on its helmets, on its uniforms. Can't do it. I can't pick a team with burnt orange. And even though they're the Tigers, it's still burnt orange. And I don't see Hank Hendricks losing on a return trip to his home state. So I've got Fayetteville, a very good Fayetteville team. They roll in the conference play 3-0.
I will say, biggest reason why I picked Fayetteville, because I would say that this was a really hard pick for me. But at the same time, I feel just their dynamic this year is different. I mean, not last Friday, but the Friday before. Who did they go against in that one matchup?
Broken Arrow.
Broken Arrow. That's right. I mean, they pulled away with the finish 18-17, and I feel like last year's team were good, but they just kind of were always close, but just didn't get there. And I think this team can go all the way. And that game against Broken Arrow kind of proved it to me. So that's why I picked Fayetteville over Texas High, at least currently.
All right. What I'm going to call our game of the week this week up in Northwest Arkansas is Lee Summit, Missouri North at Bentonville. So, this is a game that Bentonville lost as a part of its 0-3 start. But as Jody Grant and I were talking about earlier this morning, he said they were winning the ball game with 8 minutes left in the game and the wheels just kind of fell off. I don't think that's going to happen this time around. Lee Summit North has had a little bit of coaching drama early in the season. The coach that they did have resigned 2 weeks before the season. I'm sure they've kind of kept things the same, and they've got a lot of talented athletes and a good team. They're already 3-0, but I don't think they come into Bentonville and beat Bentonville. I've got the Bentonville Tigers over Lee Summit North. Sydney, who you got?
Shoot. I just keep saying each one is a hard pick, but I think as small of a games that we have for the lists we have this week, all of them are not easy picks, but I'm going to go with Summit.
Leland, who you got?
Oh, I think Bentonville turns the tables from last year. Instead of going 0-3, they finished conference play 3-0 with the win against Missouri.
Okay. All right. Well, that concludes our Who You Got segment. And
that's right. And
Sydney,
before we get into
give it over to you.
Yeah. I don't know. Can you hear me on that Zoom?
No, I can't. I just imagine what you're saying.
Of course. Well, before we get into the Give Me 5, we want to remind everyone that NWAOnline.com and River Valley Democrat-Gazette.com are the premier spots to get all the latest news on all high school sports. Additionally, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook at Prep Rally Pod, where we share interviews with players and just fun behind-the-scenes videos. So with that being said, let's take it away with the Give Me 5.
Hi, my name is Jackson Harrison. This is the River Valley Give Me 5.
These are the top 5 performances of the last week in the River Valley. And wow, what a variety we have. First, number 5, we're going to start in Oklahoma. Fast pitch softball. Kylie Combs, a senior pitcher for Pecola, pitched the Pecola Lady Indians to the LaFleur County Tournament Fast Pitch Softball Tournament on Thursday night with a sparkling 3-0 shutout win over Podo. Combs gave up in 27 innings in the tournament, or in 25 innings in the tournament. She struck out 27, and Pecola won its second straight fast pitch softball tournament in LaFleur County. Number 4, volleyball. Aubrey McGee of Van Buren, a senior, was the most valuable player of the Fort Smith Invitational Tournament on Saturday. For the first time ever, Van Buren won the big school tournament championship in that 45-year history of that tournament, and she was the MVP of that tournament on Saturday. Number 3, the 3A1, we talk about it a lot, and we could go all over the place. Andrew Burton had another big game for Mansfield. Hayden Daniel and Hunter Warren had big games for Boonville. But how about Daniel Ramirez, running back for Cedarville, 21 carries, 257 yards, and 4 touchdowns in Cedarville's 51-20 win over Johnson County Westside on Friday night. And then also Daniel Mullenix, a quarterback for Lavaca, 10 of 18 for 129 yards and a touchdown, 13 carries for 164 yards and a touchdown, including a 99-yard touchdown run in a 36-12 win over Roland, Oklahoma. Number 2, Kane Archer, the legend, Groves, 23 of 29 for 318 yards and 2 touchdowns, 20 carries for 116 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's now thrown 8 touchdown passes and run for 8 touchdowns in Greenwood's 3 games this season. 15 seconds left. He had a 5-yard touchdown run and then added the decisive 2-point run for a 43-42 win at Springdale Harbor on Friday night. And then, of course, our River Valley Democrat-Gazette Player of the Week, senior quarterback Carter Little of Charleston, in a 52-20 win over Ozark. He was 9 of 17 passing for 187 yards and 3 touchdowns. He had 9 carries for 161 yards and 2 touchdowns. But listen to this, just in the second quarter, Charleston scored 5 touchdowns. Carter Little was 5 of 7 for 128 yards and 3 touchdowns and had 5 rushes for 121 yards and 2 touchdowns. All of that was in the second quarter as Lavaca erased a 14-3 deficit early in the second quarter for that big comeback win for Charleston at home to win the Franklin County feud. And we were able to catch up with Carter Little for this interview following the game. What was that game for you tonight?
It was a lot of fun. We lost it the past 2 years, so it felt really good to hold that trophy there.
These seniors, a lot of starters. Were you guys really kind of looking forward to this game?
Oh, yes, sir. It's the past 2 years. This is our last chance to get that trophy back. We're really starting to come together and playing for each other.
What was kind of I'm sure you guys, how disappointed were you that you settled for a field goal that first drive?
I'm very disappointed. We felt like we had a lot of stuff open. We felt like we missed some opportunities. And so, at least we did get some points, but we didn't want to settle for a field goal.
Once you started rolling, though, did the offense just kind of feel like you were kind of unstoppable at that point?
After that momentum, getting the ball back a couple times, I felt like we couldn't be stopped.
I know some of the stuff, you ran the ball a lot tonight. Some of it by design, some of it on scrambles, kind of both.
Yes, sir. We talked about it during the week, but we didn't really, plan that much for it. But we said, let's do it. So we did it. We executed very well.
Man, you got some talented receivers around you, don't you?
Yes, sir. I think we got the best receivers in 3A.
Well, and then 4 seniors on the line. I mean, you guys offensively have to have a lot of confidence.
Yes, sir. We've all been playing in big games for the past 3 years. Most of us have. So this senior year, just coming together and having that experience is a pretty big thing.
And now we'll turn it over to Graham Thomas for the top 5 in Northwest Arkansas.
I'm Braxton Lindsay, and this is the NWA Top 5.
All right, these are the top 5 performances in the Northwest Arkansas. And, well, we're going to go back to our geography lesson. Sydney, do you know where Berryville, Arkansas is?
Not a chance.
All right, you go to Pea Ridge, you just keep going east. Go around the mountains and
I couldn't even tell
throw
you
up
where
a time or two after spinning around.
Graham, we've been over this. I couldn't even tell you where Pea Ridge is.
Well, we're just gonna have like a day of driving around Northwest Arkansas, just you and me, and
Leland,
it'd be a great
Diana,
day.
road tripping, all of us.
We need a van. We need a van just to pile in.
A Prep Rally Sports fan. Oh my word.
Okay. Anyway, so Berryville, Arkansas, the Berryville Bobcats only won 1 game last year. Well, they've already got 2 wins so far this year. In last week's victory, Jason Alvarado with 151 yards rushing on 13 carries and 2 touchdowns. Hey, how about C.T. Hicks? He had 167 passing yards, 39 yards rushing, and 2 touchdowns. That's over 200 yards of offense for the young man. Great job by Berryville. They're 2-0. We're excited about that. The next 3, I don't know that I've ever done this before, but the next 3 of the top 5 are going to come from teams that did not win their ball game, but yet some great individual efforts. So number 4 is Reed McAllister of Springdale Harbor, had 207 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, and the Wildcats got their hearts ripped out by Kane Archer, but he had a great individual performance, the running back for the Wildcats. Number 3, Elijah Sugg of Prairie Grove, another really tough performance against Farmington. Farmington wins in another last-second game. That's a game that we probably should have hit on some, but a great win for Farmington. But Elijah Sugg ran 22 times for 224 yards, scored 3 touchdowns. He had a great ball game as well. Tigers just came up a little bit short against Farmington Cardinals. Number 2, Cole Creighton in a loss to Lincoln Christian. Passed for more than 400 yards, 406 actually, and 2 touchdowns. Leland, that is his 2nd straight week of more than 400 yards passing. I can do math. If he continues on that kind of pace, he's in for a really big season. And number 1, our Northwest Arkansas Player of the Week for football is Braxton Lindsay of Rogers. And, this is a guy who can do just about everything you can do on the football field. He can run it, he can throw it, he can catch it, he can play a lot of defense. He did a little bit of everything on Friday in the win against Sheridan. He caught 4 passes for 37 yards. 2 of those were touchdowns. He returned an interception for a touchdown. It was a 40-yard pick 6. And then when talking to Henry Apple, who was at the game, he probably made the play of the game when Sheridan was still in it for a little bit. I think it was 28-21, something like that. And they were going for it on the Yellow Jackets were going for it on 4th down. And they threw a pass, and Lindsay met the receiver and just planted him right into the ground, short of the yard to gain. Rogers takes the ball and goes on and pulls away for the big win. Braxton Lindsay, he's going to BYU. He's a really good football player in this area. And that is my top 5 of the week. All
right, y'all. We hope you enjoyed our show today, and we will see you next
week.
What?
Wait.
What?
We forgot. We've got to talk about, there's a couple of big things happening this week. One, particularly down in the River Valley, is the Battle of Rogers Avenue Volleyball Edition. They're going to do it twice, but this is the first one. Southside plays at Northside on Tuesday night. And I tell you what, I mean, the Battle of Rogers Avenue rivalry, it spreads across sports, right, Leland?
Well, it doesn't matter what sport it is. I mean, it could be, the old expression is it could be tiddlywinks, and Harold McIlvain will be there, and we'll have full coverage of the volleyball version of the Battle of Rogers Avenue.
And we've got lots, and that just kind of leads us to we got all kinds of things going on. We've got golf, we've got tennis, we've got cross country. There's so many things to check out on our website that Cindy mentioned earlier, and just a very full week. So we'll be back filming next week's show in no time with the start of conference play.
Thanks for that update, Graham. All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next week. This is Prep Rally.